Hey guys, welcome back to the United Star. And moving from the main team, we're now going to the youth, something we're well known for. And we have Atanu, who's been following the youth since a while, since things have started. Atanu, let's talk about one of the first things that's going on, and that's the under 23 season that we've had. Didn't get off to the best of starts, to be very honest. I think it was a very sluggish start, losing to City, losing to Arsenal. I think we even lost to Chelsea. If we drew to Chelsea,
Go to
there was a
Chelsea.
lot
Yeah.
of draws and losses. But in our recent performances, we've seen a certain grit that's coming out. Beating Brighton, we beat Liverpool. We managed to beat Everton. We're getting those points on the table. What are you seeing? What has caused this change? What is causing this drastic, improvement within the under 23s? Was it just they needed some time to gel as a unit because so many players had gone out on loan, and like any other team, that transition happened from the under 18s slash 19s to the under 23s?
I think you are absolutely right when you asked when you asked me whether it was the gelling. I definitely think it was the gelling part because, as you mentioned, there were some new players coming, making the transition from under 18s to under 23s, and there is a certain individual name who goes by the name of Tiden Mengi who came in. He wasn't loaned out in this season, and I was sort of skeptical because I thought he's performing well. He did have a very good preseason, but at the same time, you would want him to go out on loan and get those game time. But I guess it was done because right now the whole defense is built around Tiden Mengi. There's Alvaro Fernandez as well. There's Marc Jurado who's coming up. He's currently in the under 18s. He's playing some game. He's playing some games for under 23s as well. But Tiden Mengi is that rock. He's that wall at the back line. So I think uh, his introduction into the team and the gelling part, of course, because last year we saw the likes of Ethan Galbraith playing in. Charlie Savage, Charlie Wellens are playing right now as well. We saw Amad Diallo for a while. We saw Shoretire solely focused on under 23s. But right now we are seeing Anthony Alanga and Shoretire training with the first team, going back to the academy, training with the first team again. So this sort of a disruption. So right now, I think the wins that you mentioned, the Brighton, the Everton, the Liverpool, that they were possible because of that gelling part. And coming to this was the Premier League too. So I'll just state out the stats. In Premier League two, the under 23s have played 7 games. They've won three. They've drawn two. They have lost two. So of course, after last season also wasn't very good because there was this certain stat. We had scored the number of goals that we scored were equal to the number of goals that we conceded. So our goal difference was in the negative, or I think it was zero. So right now, I think we are getting back into the groove. Last season, we saw a very good player by the name of Charlie McNeil. So he's also making that transition into the under 23s. He's taking some time. So I think it's about the gelling part. Of course, I'm not looking at winning the Premier League too, because at the end of the day, we want development for the players. So I think that was something very good.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. When it comes to these youth level players, it's more about getting them to the next stage and seeing if they're ready to break into the team rather than focusing on, oh, did they win the FA Cup or what? But also talking on this level, let's talk about the EFL trophy. Can you give us an update as to how things are going in there before we move on to the next individual competition?
Yeah, I think we are in the group A6. We are in the group A6 right now, and we've played 2 games. We've played against Lincoln City and we've played against Bradford. Yeah, we've played against Bradford, both away games, and we've won against Bradford City the last game, but we lost against Lincoln City. It was a 3-2 loss. Charlie McNeil scored. Demani Melor, one of the players who I adore a lot because he's been through a lot in terms of injuries. Right now he's at Salford City. So of course they both scored. We saw a Hannibal Mejbri assist and a Hannibal Mejbri red card. So that's something that you see a lot these days from Hannibal. But I think he's developing into a better player. There was this thing that Neil Wood and Neil Ryan told. I think it was the Athletic that they told this to. They told that against Man City they lost 4-2, And there was a time when Hannibal Mejbri, became very angry on the pitch, but you saw that development in his anger, and you saw that development in his character, and he's trying to be a bit more disciplined on the pitch, because he's got many red cards last season as well.
Yeah, fair enough. And you're talking about Hannibal. I think there were a lot of people coming out and saying he's the Grealish of our club or whatnot. I think a lot of these players that you've mentioned, Charlie McNeil, Hannibal, Shoretire, Elanga, there are tons of them that have great potential, and we can see them gel in. And we'll talk about some of those players later. But talking about the EFL, 1 win, 1 loss. Something similar in the under 19s as well. We managed to beat Young Boys 1-0, but then we got battered, to use a less offensive word, against Villarreal 4-1. The way I look at it is that 1-0 win is something we didn't do last season. It's something that the team has generated to hold on to those slim leads. Villarreal are probably a better side. I'm not aware of their under 20, under 19s and whatnot, but it's not a bad start, I would say.
No, not at all. I think against Young Boys, like I'll just put out a comparison. The senior team lost to Young Boys. The under 19s won against Young Boys. The senior team won against Villarreal. The under 19s lost against Villarreal. So I think at the end of the day, it balances it out. But yeah, talking about that 1-0 win against Young Boys, you're absolutely right. Last season we didn't have these 1-0 score lines, or we used to concede a lot, and this is something that we've developed, and we've worked upon it. And Neil Ryan working behind the scenes and making this happen. The defense is much more stable than last season till now. I'm not making any assumptions in the coming games, but yeah. And the 4-1 loss, I didn't see the whole game. I did see that Alvaro Fernandez goal. Oh my God. You could see Alvaro Fernandez and Marc Jurado were signed last season. Jurado was signed from Barcelona, and I think Alvaro Fernandez was signed from Real Madrid Academy. And they both linked up for that one consolation goal against Villarreal. Marc Jurado with a wonderful free kick assist to Alvaro Fernandez, and Alvaro Fernandez playing really well, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep. So getting into, we've covered the 23s, we've covered the youth league. Let's just quickly go through the under 18s. I would say something similar as to what we said about under 23s, which I think everyone needs to understand. You need that time to gel when you're going from a lower level to an upper level, however small it may be. And we look at them, they again lose to City 3-0, lose to Liverpool 5-0, disgraceful performances to say the least. But then they come back strong against Leeds. They win 3-0, they beat Stoke 4-2. And recently they beat Newcastle 5-0. So the results are turning around when we look at both categories, like the under 23s and under 18s. And I think I would go down to say the same thing, right? We just need time for the players to gel with one another.
Yeah, definitely. I think we saw a lot of intake into the under 18s this season. We saw a lot of under 16 players making it into the under 18s team. And they've got a new coach as well, Travis Binion. It will take some time, as you rightly said, that it will take some time to gel together. Of course, we faced two of the very good academy teams. We faced City in the first game, Liverpool in the second game, and we had conceded 8 goals in the first 2 games, like total 8 goals. 3-0 loss against City and 5-0 loss against Liverpool. But we managed to turn things around against Leeds United. I'm really impressed by Travis Binion, the way he has, called back Joe Hugill into the first team, into the under 18s. We saw that intent to score goals. We saw that, whatever you might call that, we saw a lot of good players. We saw Sam Mather, one of the very good players that I've been looking forward to watch. He's doing really good. He's a Salford boy. He's also new to the under 18 setup.
Atanu, you're talking about these specific players. Why don't you just talk about our youth in general and those players that are standing out throughout this campaign?
Yeah, correct.
If I give you, I remember we've always done this video where I think last season we were talking about the likes of Elanga, we were talking about the likes of Shoretire, we were talking about the likes of Mejbri. If today I tell you, let's pick 5. So give me 3 names, maybe on an under 23 level, who you can see get a first team appearances. So you cannot take the likes of Elanga or Shoretire because they've already got it. And at the same time, probably two from the under 18s to make it to the under 23s by the end of the season. Who would those five be?
It's something that I have to think about. But first name on the top of my head, Alvaro Fernandez. Amazing player, left back, and just the stats. I mean, yeah, people might say I'm stat padding here, but he's played 10 games. He scored 3 goals and he scored two. He scored 3 goals and he has given 2 assists. Not bad for a left back, right? 50% of the goal, like he's performed in the 50% of the games. He's been involved in the goals contributions. The second name, Delon Hoogewerf. I have talked a lot about him last season as well. Stats, I mean, yes, not really good as Alvaro Fernandez, but he's doing really well. He's linking up really well with Shoretire. He's played 8 games till now. Delon Hoogewerf, he's scored 2 and he's assisted 1. So another name that I think can make it into the senior team in the coming years. Charlie Wellens, right back, he's played 7 games, and in the Premier League too, he's played 7 games for the under 23s in the league, and he's given 3 assists. Uh, right back giving assists, Vishesh, is that something the senior team might be missing?
I think you've gone a tad bit ahead. I wouldn't go there because we have a certain player sitting at a certain Swansea City club who
Yeah.
we'll talk about in another video maybe. But I think yeah, maybe the competition is there and one of them succeeds to be a great United player.
Yeah, from
But
under
yeah, and
18s, I'll try to list out 3 names. Joe Hugill, we all know about. He scored. He's played 1 game for under 18s, and he scored a hat trick in that. We've got Sam Murray, another good player. I think he's an attacking midfielder. He's got 2 goal contributions in 4 games. Marc, that assist to Alvaro Fernandez was something that really stood out for me. In my opinion, Marc is that wing back along with Alvaro Fernandez, who has what it takes to be in the senior team, to train with the senior team day in and day out. He's also captaining the under 18s on a regular basis. So some of the names, but these are the names that you've probably heard of. I'll give out 2 more names. Manny Norket, he's a new member of the under 18s, and Sam Mather, like I told you. Sam Mather, amazing player, left winger, attacking midfielder, right winger. He's played 5 games, he's scored 2 goals, and he's got 5 assists. So 5 games, 7 goal contribution is something really, really special. We signed Ethan Ennis from Liverpool, but he hasn't stood out. He's only played 45 minutes for the under 18s till now. So hopefully he'll get game time in the coming games.
Yep. So there's just one player that I want to discuss before we end this, and that is a player that I've been following since we signed him. And I guess you know who it is. It's Charlie McNeil. What's your take on his transition? Because we've always seen a player being focused on during transition. You look at Mason Greenwood's transition to the first team. You then look at now how they were trying to work it out with Ilanga. You then look at Charlie McNeil. He spent a season in the 18s. He's now been pushed to the 23s. He's getting his goals on and off. Do you see United having a plan for him as well?
I think I've always said that it would be too soon for him to be in the senior team setup right now. Last season, he really outshone in the under 18s, but he's been struggling with injuries, if I'm not wrong. He's not played a lot of games that we expected him to play. So I think this season in the under 23s, and maybe alone in the next season, he comes back, and I think he can fight with Mason Greenwood for that striker spot. I'm just putting this is an extra pressure on him, but I believe he can do things that we expect him to.
Yep, that sounds good. So guys, that's what's going on in the youth levels. We've obviously not spoken about loanies, and we will cover that maybe in another video because there's a lot going on. With James Garner, the manager getting sacked, new manager coming in. You look at all other players out there. We'll cover those points in another video. But do let us know what you think about the under 23s, under 19s, youth league, under 18s, any of the players that Atanu mentioned that you like and what you like about them in the comments below. Do like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.